Yes, okay, fine. So we're going to learn about, one of the industry trending skill that is augmented reality and virtual reality. So let me give a brief introduction about VYTCDC. So what is VYTCDC in the sense like it is VY Technology and Career Development Center. So it is a training and incubator center which is run and mentored by industry experts who manage VWise technology companies. So we are in this technology services for the last 19 years. What we do here is like we train the students in the current trending software skills and give them the placement guidance. So we have successfully created technology careers for students from all the aspects of life since 15 plus years. Okay. So today in this webinar, what we're gonna see is we have Dr. Shyam Rajan, who is our CEO for VY Voxel Inc. So VY Voxel Inc. is again a VY Ventures company. So we are totally focusing on visual computing solutions to the customers well. So we have our CEO, Dr. Shyam Rajan. He is there with this industry for the last 12 plus years. So today he's going to share you his most experienced things, and we're going to have a very, very rocking session, guys. So it's going to be very interesting. I hope everyone is aware about this visual reality, augmented reality, all these things, right? So we're going to learn about these things in this webinar. So let us welcome Shyam sir. Shyam sir, it's a great privilege to have you on this webinar. So here we go, sir. Yeah.
Ranjana, thank you. Thank you very much for your introduction. So yeah, so like Ranjana said, we are part of VY Systems, and I am run a unit called VY Voxel, which is into visual computing. So today we're going to talk about augmented reality and virtual reality. Um, like Ranjana said, um, let me just start with this. Ranjana, my screen is visible, yeah, to everybody, to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible. Yeah.
Okay. So let me start about a little bit about VY Voxel. We do visual computing, and I am Shyam Rajan. I've been in the industry for about 30 years. I spend most of my time in the medical imaging, medical visualization area. My PhD is in computer science and in medical visualization and 3D graphics programming, etc. Right now, I run this company called VY Voxel, which is part of VY Systems. So let us get straight into the AR VR part. So what do we mean by this AR VR? And people talk about MR, they talk about XR. So what is all this meaning? So that is what we will start by looking at first, right? I'll give you a brief idea of what these things are. Some of you may already know it, but we'll quickly go through those. Then I want to look at what are some of the application areas of this technology, right? So you can have technology for technology's sake, but then at some point it has to make an impact. In some industry, it has to improve the lives of some people. As computer scientists, technologists, visual communication people, as professionals, our job is to make sure that we do things which give a particular outcome to people in general, whether it's in healthcare or whether it's in manufacturing or retail or whatever industry you are in. So we look at some of those application areas. Then I want to look at some of the technologies that go into this, because that's what is more interesting for you to see what are those areas, what are those technologies which are needed to get into this field. Then we look at some career options, and then we can talk a little bit about the TCDC training program. Ranjana has already talked about it. Is basically you can reach out and see where to take it forward in case you're interested in taking it forward. Okay, so that is basically the agenda for today. And if you have any questions, please interrupt me, ask me questions. I would like it to be as interactive as possible. Towards the end also, we'll have some time for questions. But if you have questions, please feel free to just interrupt me. You can unmute and ask me. While we are talking, please be on mute, because otherwise there can be a lot of disturbance. It will be disturbing for other people. So again, warm welcome to all of you. And it's really nice to be with students, and I'm expecting a lot of discussion at the end of it. Okay, so let's go to what is this? Why is this AR VR? AR stands for augmented reality, VR stands for virtual reality. I'll talk a little bit about what these various things mean in the next slide. But why is this so important? Because it is one of the fastest growing areas today. So if you look at any of these surveys, which is either given by Gartner or by any of these agencies, you will find AR VR right up there as one of the fastest growing areas. Currently, it's almost a $20 billion US market, which is huge. In Indian rupees, it's massive. It's thousands of crores. And it is also expected to grow to around 200 billion US dollar market in the next 5 years. So you can imagine when there is a 200 billion dollar market, what is the kind of opportunities that will be there in that market. One of the surveys says that by 2025, half of all medium and large businesses in advanced economies, which is the top 10 economies. By the way, India is also number 5 or number 6 in the economic GDP chart. Okay, so in advanced economies will adopt what is called as extended reality solutions, which includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. Now, as you know, with this pandemic, it's getting even more accelerated because in-person contact becomes very difficult. So therefore, there is even more of a big push towards these kind of technologies that allow you to collaborate virtually, collaborate without in-person contact by maintaining social distancing, so on and so forth. But even if the pandemic is not there, this is a massive area. So what I want to talk to you today is basically on some of these areas and what are those different topics which are there and what is important for you people to know so that you can have an understanding of what is those areas you need to focus in, whether you are in computer science or visual communications or in design or in whichever field you are. Every field has got an opportunity here, including content writing. That has also got an opportunity. Script writing has got an opportunity. So storyboarding has got an opportunity. Programming, of course, has got an opportunity. So we'll talk through some of those areas. Okay. So going on to the next slide, let me just talk a little bit about what these three technologies mean. Now, virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality are the three pieces to this. It is called VR, AR, and MR. Sometimes this MR, they also call it as MXR, but it's okay. We can refer to it as AR, VR, MR. Now, all three of these technologies have an umbrella term called extended reality. What is called XR. So some people will say, instead of saying AR, VR, MR, they say XR. So XR encompasses all of this, which is extended reality, which includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. So that is the first piece I want to tell you. XR means includes all of these things. So now when you come to these three areas, what is the difference between these three? So let's go to virtual reality first, right? So what does virtual reality do? I'm sure many of you might have played virtual reality games since all of you are doing gaming. You might have seen it. So virtual reality usually is done through headsets. And virtual reality, what it does is it replaces reality. So as you can see, if a person is wearing a goggles, they're completely 360-degree covered by these goggles and they get a complete vision of the whole world only through these goggles. So reality is replaced through this. So now you can imagine if you replace reality, now you can be sitting somewhere. You could be sitting in Chennai, but you could wear these VR goggles. You can have sometimes also these interaction devices with you. And there are different kinds of glasses. We'll come to later to that. You wear these virtual reality headsets and you can be transported to that place. So imagine today if you feel like going to Australia and swimming in the Great Barrier Reef, or you feel like going and watching the cricket match, which is happening right now in Sydney, you can wear these VR glasses and go and sit there and watch it, right? It's almost a 360-degree view. Sitting in your room, you get a view. So it gives you a completely immersive experience. So virtual reality is completely immersive. Your reality is only what is inside those glasses, and you don't have much of a vision outside of that. Okay, so you might be sitting in your chair or walking in your room, but you feel like you're walking on a beach, whatever it is. The way that this is done is through specialized headsets. Okay, so some of the headsets you might have heard of. HTC Vive is a very popular headset. You have Oculus Rift, Oculus Go, and so on. They are all popular headsets which are available in the market. So if you want to do virtual reality, you usually do it through a headset. Now you might also find virtual reality experiences on the phone, which is okay. You get 360-degree views and all that, but you don't get the complete immersive experience. So if you want to look at it traditionally, virtual reality means completely replaces reality and gives you a totally immersive experience. So that is on virtual reality part. Next we come to augmented reality. So when you come to augmented reality, what is the difference? Augmented reality basically it enhances or augments the reality that is already there. So you are seeing the real world, but you're also seeing some certain things which are mapped onto that world. So you can project 2D, 3D objects onto the real world and see the real world and these objects together. Mostly it is served on mobile devices, iOS, Android, or any other kind of device. As an example, you can see an example here. What is happening here is this is a warehouse. Let us say it's an Amazon warehouse or it is some whatever company's warehouse. and this person is actually trying to find out to pick a particular package which needs to be shipped. So it has got a barcode, it's got a number. Now if you see, sometimes these warehouses are kilometers long. It may be 4, 7, 8 kilometers, right? So it can take a long time to find it. So now if you can have an augmented reality solution where there is a mobile service like this, and that actually shows you the map. So the map is overlaid on top of the real world, and the person can actually go and find it, or it'll tell you something is out of stock, or there is 4 remaining, and you can think of all the applications of this technology. So just to summarize, augmented reality will enhance or augment reality. Virtual reality will replace reality. Okay, so you project objects onto this. So those are the two pieces, VR and AR. Then we come to the third piece, which is mixed reality. Now, when you say mixed reality, it is very similar to augmented reality. You are projecting 2D, 3D objects onto the real world, but you also mix the real world and simulated objects. So when a user is actually touching something in the real world, they really don't know if it is the real world object or it is a virtual object. So you can interact more, more in a much more advanced way in a mixed reality environment. For mixed reality, again, you use specialized glasses like HoloLens or Vuzix. These are all names of glasses, and there are several glasses like this. These are some examples of those glasses that I put here on the right side. So as you can see, in these glasses, if you wear these mixed reality glasses, what happens is you can see the real world through these glasses, but you can also have things projected onto these glasses so that you don't know what is the difference. So you get a much more advanced user interaction experience. So that is what is mixed reality. Okay. So again, I'll repeat, virtual reality is completely immersive. Augmented reality, usually on phones, enhanced or augments the reality, and mixed reality will mix the real world and the simulated objects together. So it gives you a much better experience. And you use things like HoloLens, Vuzix, smart glasses. Google had a smart glass, for example. So all of those things can be used to actually give you a very good idea of what is happening, VR, AR, MR, right? So this is the 3 different technologies which are there. So what is the use of this, right? So the use of this is AR and VR will offer a better way, for example, to surf the web, to get more done. For example, if you are working on a global project with a team in the US, and both your teams together are trying to design something, some part, or you're trying to design some code, you could all have an experience where you actually think you're all in one room, and you actually can mix various kinds of things, real world objects, 2D, 3D, user interfaces, drawings, code. So it makes for a much better collaboration across distances. That is one of the advantages. The other thing that this will do, AR, VR, XR, will make very costly, difficult, or otherwise impossible scenarios and simulations not only possible but immediately within reach. So for example, if you want to go and, like I told you, right, you want to go and watch the test match in Australia, today it's impossible to do. With COVID, you need 14-day quarantine and so many things, right? Similarly, if you want to go and look at some, you want to service some wind turbine which is sitting in some remote place, it's very difficult to do, whereas you can do it with this technology. So these technologies give you a very good opportunity to actually get more done, be more effective at work, and make real impact outside. And as I go to some industries, I will tell you some more serious applications and how much impact this technology is making and can make. Okay. So at this point, I'll just pause for a minute. Are there any questions before I move forward? If there are, please unmute and ask me. I can answer and go forward. I'll wait for some time. And if there are no questions, that is fine. We can move on and you can serve the questions for the end of this talk as well.
Guys, any doubts?
Any questions till now?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's move on. Again, just a quick reminder, please, everybody go on mute. Otherwise, it can be very disturbing for everybody else. This is one of the things with this whole remote kind of work. Hopefully, one day we will do this seminar in a AR or VR way. So we will be much more immersive and you'll actually feel you're sitting in a class. But anyway, so that is also a use case actually. Doing a seminar like this using AR, VR, you can imagine if all of you are wearing virtual reality goggles, you might all think that you're sitting in some room with there's a neighbor next to you and I might be standing on the stage and talking and it is a much more immersive experience. So immersive experience is the key here. Okay, so you want to make things more immersive and more engaging for the user. Okay, so with that, let me move on to the next part. Now here, I want to talk a little bit, give you an idea of little bit about the applications that these technologies give you. So VR, AR, MXR or MR. Okay. So these are applications of virtual reality, augmented reality or mixed reality. And this whole thing is called extended reality. Okay, so let's take an example of manufacturing first. Now, when I say manufacturing, any manufacturing flow, whether it's working, making cars or making bikes or making vessels or whatever it is, doesn't matter. Now, in manufacturing places, what happens is sometimes there are very complex assemblies. So on the line, there is a person who's doing this assembly, and some of these assemblies can be very complex. So when assembly becomes very complex, the user might need some expert guidance or might need to look at some drawings. So think of this scenario. They're assembling some part. And what if they have a doubt in how to assemble that part? But whenever they have a doubt, they can actually project a 3D drawing of that part onto the real object, and that will help them decide how to do the assembly. I can give you another example. Let us say you are itself repairing something in your house. Your washing machine is not working and you're repairing. You open the washing machine, you have no idea what is going on. So now imagine if you project your phone on it or you wear some glasses, and immediately the user manual, the instructions and what to do next and all the parts and everything gets labeled and projected onto that washing machine. Then you can imagine it'll be much easier for you to repair it. So if you look at this example here, this image, that's what it's showing. This is a person who's trying to repair something with the phone, and it is showing them oil fill cap, this is the battery, this is the fuse box, this is the washer tank, etc. Here in a manufacturing thing, he's telling that welding is happening. After that, you please switch this off and change this. So you're able to give the help. Similarly, maintaining equipment in a manufacturing firm, just like you are having a washing machine at home, a manufacturing company will have many pieces of equipment which is helping their manufacturing, like robotic arms, it might have CNC machines. All of these things can be helped. Quality assurance, once a product is made, is it of the right quality? Again, this thing can help you with that. Environment, health and safety. So many work instructions, drawings, manuals, SOPs means standard operating procedures. All of these things are used in a manufacturing floor. And right now, everything is in the form of some PDF file which is there in some laptop or desktop or phone. So you yourself imagine, now you might be doing your exams on offline or whatever, online, and you might be getting notes on WhatsApp. How easy it is to maintain those notes. You yourself know how complicated it is, right? You get so many WhatsApp mails, you don't know where to save it, what to do. So imagine in a manufacturing firm, right? So every time this guy has some doubt, he has to go to some computer, open the PDF, look at it, translate the same thing. But what we are trying to do here is provide information and expertise on demand on the line. So that is what is the manufacturing side. Was there any question? I heard somebody. Okay, maybe it is. Okay, so let me go to field service. So field service basically is another great application. Again, this can be applied anywhere in any industry. Field service means every company, when they install some big equipment, whether it's an aircraft engine or an oil and gas turbine or a wind turbine or a solar panel or any equipment gets installed, including your TV and your fridge. If there is some problem, you need to send a service engineer to fix it, right? So that whole concept of sending service engineers and fixing equipment is what comes under field service. Now in field service, imagine, let's say there is a wind turbine somewhere in near Tuticorin, and something conks off there. Some person has to be sent there. Now they are sent there, they go up and they don't know what to do, right? Let's say they have a doubt. Then they usually have to come back, or they have to call someone on a mobile phone, or they might not. So in that kind of a situation, imagine again, if you have an AR or a VR experience where you can actually give all this information, give them help, tell them how to work. If needed, some expert can also log in. The expert also can see what this guy is seeing or this girl is seeing on the field and help them, right? So they can say, okay, this oil fill cap, for example, please remove that and tell me what is the temperature of that. Now battery, take out the connector and see what goes on. So they can give a complete help. So that's why you get improved remote field service outcomes. As I've talked here, you're able to interact with colleagues, like I told you. You can have all the procedures on demand. Whenever you want, you can get the procedures. Accelerated NEO. That NEO means new employee orientation. So tomorrow, let's say you guys go and join some company. The company will do some induction and orientation program for you, right? To get you trained on the job. Now that NEO, if it is going to take a very long time, then it is a loss for the company, right? You spend so much more time on training the employee to make them productive. So every company wants to have accelerated new employee orientation. Now imagine if it is a field service engineer. Now these are dangerous jobs, right? This guy, for example, has climbed up on top of nearly a wind turbine that can be, 200 to 300 meters high. So now imagine the new employee orientation that you have to give to this person. So then using this technology, you can make it much more easy. They can have a virtual reality or augmented reality application for training, where they can sit down and do this hundreds of times, just like a flight simulator for pilots. You can think about it like that. And they can get trained, and then they can go to the field and do whatever they need to do. Now, as a company, we get a lot of requests for field service optimization for projects, and also for this accelerated NEO. So that's a very, very important area, again, which comes under this VR, AR, MR technologies. Okay. Third big area is logistics. I already talked about it a little bit. So all of this logistics means anything that involves picking something from some place and shipping it somewhere. Now it could be picking from the inventory and shipping to a customer like Amazon or Flipkart or any of these. It could be picking something from an inventory and sending it to the manufacturing floor, because if they have to make something, they need parts, right? If you want to make something, you need to give all the parts that are needed for that. So these parts will be stored in inventory. From the inventory, these parts needed to be picked and brought to the manufacturing floor. And if you don't do that efficiently, your manufacturing time goes down. So again, any kind of order processing, real-time visibility of inventory locations will give you very increased response time. And then any issues are there, it can be resolved in real time. So for example, if this guy goes somewhere and finds that he cannot find that particular item, now usually he will have to come back and say, I didn't find the item. But in this case, he can actually call some expert, the experts, and say, okay, show me on the device what you're seeing. And then they can see and they can resolve the exception. So they may say, okay, instead of this, you can pick that. That's the same thing. Maybe they mixed up something. Also, it can give automatic digital audit trails. So if you want to find out how long this person worked, what is the efficiency of this person, how many pieces this person has picked, all of that data is there. And that is also very, very important to any kind of warehousing. So any warehouse, this application gets used. Okay. So if you look at this, manufacturing, field service, logistics, if you pick these three, just about you just look around your house or you look around anywhere, any product that is there needs all of these three things. Okay, any product. So if you ask me what is the application of the technology, it is any product. So in your house, you're looking around, TV, fridge, television, washing machine, whatever you look at, your car, your bike, everything needs this, right? So it's just about useful in any particular industry, right? So that this is a very, very important application of AR and VR. Okay. So let me go to the next. The next big application area is healthcare. Now in this area, I myself have personally worked a lot. I used to work for, before this, I was working for GE, General Electric Healthcare. And there, one of the biggest problems that we have in healthcare is the access of healthcare services in remote areas and rural areas. Now, you are all from Chennai. I'm sitting in Bangalore. So, of course, in Chennai and Bangalore, the healthcare facility is very good. But imagine if you go to your native places, right? I'm sure you all come from, maybe some of you come from other places outside Chennai. If you go to a remote area and you look at the healthcare facility there might be a primary healthcare center. There might be a person who's just managing. They don't know, they may not be highly knowledgeable or qualified. So in this kind of an area, imagine again, just like that warehouse and field service example, if that local doctor there or the local nurse there has got AR VR capability, then they can do what is called as remote consulting and telediagnosis. So remote consulting means if you go as a patient with some problem,
Sir, we are not able to hear you, sir.
what is wrong with you. Now, if they are not clear, they can immediately get onto this device, whether it is a goggles, whether it is a iPhone or a tablet or Android, doesn't matter. They can go to this application. Imagine that they are able to actually look at this person's image, and that image can be sent to another hospital, like a district hospital or wherever it is. Somebody else can log in from there into the same device. They can see what this person is seeing, and they can give actual advice to say, hey, put eyes here or do this, or refer them to this hospital or transfer them, show me all the parameters, show me the eyes, show me the... So remote diagnosis and teleconsulting becomes very important. So that gives you expert remote guidance, which is very, very crucial. The other part of healthcare application is medical training. Again, supposing you want to do a surgery, today, how is the training happening? The training happens, first they do it on what is called as phantoms. Those are dummy anatomical models, okay, made out of whatever, clay or wood or whatever it is. They do the training on that. Second, they do it on live bodies, dead bodies, which is cadavers, right? So medical colleges have cadavers, they do it on that. Now, there is a very big problem. Cadavers are not available these days. That is a different story altogether, which is why they are having all these things which say donate your sorry. So they are actually donate your cadaver or donate your body and so on and so forth. So imagine if you can do the entire training, can be medical training, a surgery or whatever it is, can be simulated on a VR device, and they can actually do the surgery on the virtual reality device. They can actually do dissection. So they can do a lot of training. Again, think of it like a flight simulator where pilots are actually flying before they actually get to fly the real plane, right? So think of it as a flight simulator for medical surgeries. This can also reduce hospital visits and so on and so forth. Another big area is architecture. So here, imagine this, they're building a house. The architect is actually, as they are building, they're able to see the plan and they're able to see where the pipes are going to go. So where should I put the staircase? So you're able to project the plan onto this. You're going to get a 3D tour of the house even before it is actually built. Imagine the worker there has access to the full plan, so that when they are doing the plastering, they already know where the switch is going to come, where the light is going to come. So there is no rework. If you have built a house, you will know the amount of rework that they do. Somebody will come and put something and then somebody else will come and break it because saying, hey, we have to put the electrical here, you put the plumbing there. So you get a complete layered view of exactly what the plan is going to look like, right? So that is plan to 3D tour. You can have the final plan on the site even before the building is actually built. Then you can do interior color and material visualization. So you can actually go with this tablet, point it at a wall which has not got any paint, and then see what color paint you want, what color visualization you want, and how is it going to look. So that it's not that you find everything after you paint. Today you do everything from a color chart and then you don't know what it's going to look like finally, right? So you can even put the pictures on the wall, what you want. You can put the furniture wherever you want. So you can get a complete visualization of what is happening. So that is on the architecture side. Then you come to retail. So architecture, again, we get a lot of projects in this area. We get a lot of inquiries in this area from builders, from real estate people, especially in this COVID time, where people don't want to go and see the house, right? They don't want to travel to go and see it. They would like to see it, and then finally they would like to go for a final look before buying, right? So if you can give any kind of such remote collaboration mechanisms, then things become very easy. The third is retail. Retail is in shops, and I'm sure you can understand that. Imagine if you can go to Amazon. This is where last image here is showing that. Imagine if you go to Amazon today, you're going to buy a sofa. You just buy it. But what if you can actually look at it through your device? So you see your drawing room where you're going to put the sofa, and you can actually put the sofa there and see if it fits, whether this color is matching. So you get an idea. You can put the product in the environment where it's going to sit. And like I told you, augmented reality means you're projecting 2D, 3D images to the real world. So you can actually, through your phone camera, you can see your drawing room, and then you can place a table there and see if it works or not, if it is fitting, if it is actually suiting, and then you can buy. So you can imagine if Amazon gave you that facility, I'm sure all of you are doing online shopping. If it gave you that facility, you'll definitely jump at it and use it, right? Same way, even in a regular shop, you can have these AR, VR experiences. So when you have a large, big shop, you can have an AR experience that will actually take you through the whole shop virtually. So you don't have to actually walk around. And then you can pick what you want to buy and go to the right place. So you make your shopping more efficient. So you can have this kind of AR, VR technologies both in a retail online shop as well as an offline shop. Then I come to the next one, which is training and staffing. I already told you, you can use this for any kind of training. Imagine if you are doing biology in school and you want to do dissection. You can do virtual dissection. You don't have to go and actually get so many frogs and do all this. You can do the final dissection later. Imagine if you're doing engineering drawing. If you're going to do some lathe-based work, you have done a drawing and you're going to make that part. Your project is to make that part. You can actually see whether that part is going to work virtually using this technology, and then finally when everything is fine, you can go and actually machine it. If you already have a part, you want to see if that part is going to actually fit something else, that also you can do using this technology. So you can imagine how much it can be used for training in companies as well as in education, like colleges, schools, and so on. When you do it in companies, you get very efficient new employee orientation. You can upgrade skills very fast. Okay, you can have avatars so that you can have efficient team collaborations. You can do resource blending. So what happens is sometimes very uh, senior people are needed for certain jobs, right? Because so now when you want to train some newer person, this newer person can shadow this senior person virtually in an augmented reality environment and then learn much faster. Again, you can give very safe heavy machinery training. Now this heavy machinery training causes a lot of accidents because this can be very dangerous. There are very high voltages. There are very high speed moving parts. So you cannot just take a new employee and send them to a gas turbine and say go and service it, or send them to a wind turbine and say service it, because they can get hurt very badly. So therefore, it is very good for training them before they actually go there, so you reduce accidents. Research actually shows that so many accidents are reduced when employees actually do this entire thing. New employees do this virtually in a flight simulator mode before going there. And if you look at pilots, it's already proven. Pilots actually do so much of flight simulator training before they actually go and pilot a real plane, right? And then they become a co-pilot, and then there is a senior pilot, and that's how they get learning. We are trying to sort of say with this technology that we can use the same kind of thing for any kind of training and learning. Okay, so that is training and staffing. And then of course gamification. Okay, now this I don't have to talk to you about. I'm sure all of you play games. I'm sure all of you are gamers. Imagine if all those gaming experiences were VR experiences or AR experiences. I don't know how many of you have played Pokemon. Pokemon is a great example of a AR VR game, AR game actually, because you can go and search for all these Pokemon gems in your own neighborhood. Of course, there were some issues of people jumping into their neighbors' houses and running here and there, but that's different. But you can imagine all those gamification sites. So I'm not going to go into games. I'm sure all of you play games. Imagine if all those games could be, you could use all of these technologies that I showed you in games. How cool that would that be, right? So gaming is again a huge area. And what I would like you to think now about is, as you go, think about these applications, think about this technology, and see, which domains actually resonate to you. So some of you may get resonated by healthcare, some of you may be thinking architecture is good, some of you may be thinking manufacturing. Think of applications, right? So as students now, one thing is, to get the skills to learn this, right? How do you do this? And I will talk about the technologies that are needed to make this happen in the next slide. But what you guys should do is you must expand your thinking. You expand your thinking and you think, okay, this technology, how can it be applied to some problem that is there today, right? Which you are seeing in your own lives, or which you can think of, or which you can see. Now, maybe, you call some, maybe one of you might have, your washing machine would have conked off. You called the repair guy. That person came and he said, sir, I don't know what to do. It's too complicated. He went away. After that, 2 more days later, some other guy came. They did something else. So imagine if they had this option, would it have helped? Or maybe you are not able to, you have some small injury on your hand. You don't want to go to a hospital right now because COVID is going on, and if it's very minor, you don't want to go. But at the same time, imagine if you could show that to some doctor remotely, and that person said, hey, don't worry, put this. 2 days later, you have this painkiller, you dress it this way, and after that you should be fine, right? So it will make you much more comfortable. So think about some situations in your own life, or situations which you see, which you can actually use, and try to apply these. And even if you don't know how to do it now, you might learn that later. At least think of the application, how you can make an impact. That is very important for you people as students, right, who are coming out. Don't just come out saying, I know this and this and that. Come out saying, I know this and that, but I also am thinking about some of those applications, because none of these technologies are of any use. I will tell you very clearly, I've been in the industry for 30 years. No technology is of any use unless it is going to make an impact to some person. It has to make an impact and have some outcome. So either some person's life becomes easier, or some person's pain becomes less, or some person's work becomes more efficient, or some person, instead of spending 8 hours in the office, has to spend only 3 hours to do the work, and then they can go home and enjoy the rest of the day. So anything, as technologists, as visual communication people, anything that you do has to have an impact. So just I'm giving you some ideas where to think next and where to go, right? So when you have these applications, you try to match the technology with these applications. Okay, so this is an example of where all this can be applied, right? Okay, so any questions here before I move to the next part of technologies and capabilities? I'll again pause for 2 minutes because I gave you a lot of information. So just if there are any questions, you can ask me, and then I'll move to the next part. Okay, so let me move to the next part. I'm assuming that you guys are getting, energized by seeing this technology. So now comes to this part, which is I want to do this. How do I do this? Right? That is the question you have. Okay, technology sounds great. Everything is good. Now, how am I going and what all is involved in this? This sounds very complicated. There are so many things. What are some of the things that I need to actually do this? So let me take this in a little bit of a structured way. Now, I know there are multiple different kinds of people in this audience. Some of you may be programmers. Some of you may be doing engineering. Some of you may be doing visual communication. Right, Ranjana, there are also visual communication folks here, I guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We do
Yeah.
have some students in visual
Yeah.
communication.
So I want to sort of talk about all of these and how, and there is a role for everybody to play. So don't think this is a great, it's a technology. So therefore, oh, I am a visual communication person and how will I get involved in this? Doesn't matter. There is enough work for all this. So imagine if you want to write an application, and I'm going to go back to this slide. Let me take something. Yeah, let me say I want to write an application like this. Okay, the one I'm showing you here. Or I want to write an application like this. Okay, think about it. Just for a minute, think what all is needed, right? Now, three kinds of skills are needed. One is, of course, you need programming people, right? Who can program or script. Everyone need not program also. You can also script it. It's like working in Photoshop or it's like working in Blender. Programming is a little more complicated. But you need programmers to actually write out that experience, start to finish, right? So for example, what happens in this particular screen? First of all, you need all these buttons. You need the camera enabled. You need to know mobile phone programming. This is like a mobile app. And then once you see this, you need to put all these buttons there. And when I click, what happens? Sometimes when you click, you might get some instruction. Sometimes when you click, you might get some 3D model. Sometimes when you click, you might get something else. It's just like any other application, right? Sometimes when you click, it might connect you to some expert. It might be a video window, right? So multiple windows will come up, multiple things will happen. So you can imagine you need to write an application to actually do this. So that is the programming side. Now in the programming side, the second side is very important, is you need to have user interaction. So imagine this guy is standing in some wind turbine, or this person is logging in and doing some Amazon shopping, or this person is standing in some house, or this person is standing in some clinic somewhere in front of a patient. You need to have user interaction design. How do you design that story? How do you storyboard the user experience? So there is a whole user experience, user engagement, content, visual communication story there. It's just like creating a campaign. If I say create a 3-minute campaign for a marketing campaign for this product, there is a story. How do you get people involved? Or if I say create a website, there is a story. How do you get people to come onto the website? What is the stickiness factor? How do you get them to stay there? How do you make it as simple as possible to get their information with least amount of clicks? All that comes in. That is the user interaction design. Okay, so user interaction designers are also visual designers, industrial designers, visual communication people, very, very key. That's the second piece. The third piece is you need to create 3D or 2D assets. So for example, if I want to project this model here, I have to create this asset of the sofa. This is a 3D model. It has to be textured. It has to be rendered. It has to be given the right color. It has to be given the right look. It has to be lit. All of those things has to happen. Shadowing has to be done to make it more realistic. Or if I look here, I have to render all these pipes. Or if I'm looking here, I have to render all these 2D, 3D assets has to be created. If I'm going here, for example, I need to create these buttons and I have to make it look good, right? So for example, here you can see there's a red thing where it is actually projected some 3D image on top of that. So you need to create 2D and 3D assets. Okay, so those are again jobs for 2D, 3D programmers. Again, visual designers, visual communication people also do that. You might need traditional people who are artistic, who can conceptualize, concept artists, environment designers, all of those roles which you need in game programming or in creating 3D animation, you need those skills as well. So all these three skills come together to create a application, right? If you want to create a proper, beautiful, engaging application for the user, you need all these three skills. Obviously, if there is one person who knows all these skills, that is fantastic, but I've never met a person like that. You cannot have a person who can sketch and draw and do 2D and 3D and be a content writer and do visual communication and do design and is a fantastic C# programmer. If there is such a person, please tell me. I will give him a job tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow morning I'll send the offer if you know anyone like that, right? Because there is no such person I have not seen. However, because they're all different skills, right? But when you bring everybody together as a team, then a lot of magic happens. Okay. And then of course, you can also go based on an interest. Now I know many programmers who are very good in art. I know many artists who are extremely good, who learned programming and became very good programmers. I know some people who are excellent in Maya and Blender, who are 3D asset creation people, who suddenly one fine morning started writing content and started doing visual communication. So skills can all change. It doesn't, please don't box yourselves into any one thing. I'm just giving you a brief overview of all the things that are needed. Okay. So now let me go to each skill. So if you're a programmer, obviously you need to have a proficiency and capability with a tool that allows you to write AR, VR experiences. So I have put the most used tool, which is Unity 3D. Unity 3D is the most used tool for creating these game programming as well as for AR, VR experiences. For AR, VR, this is one of the most used tools. 85 to 90% of all AR, VR projects are done in this tool. It is a tool which is very similar to Maya in the sense that you can create assets and you can import assets, you can light, texture, render. At the same time, you can also create a user experience. You can have user interface buttons. You can have the entire experience created, and you can you can do C# programming to extend the behavior of certain default things. You can publish it to mobile phone, to headsets, to all things. So Unity 3D is a very important skill there. Then you need to have some understanding of 3D graphics, modeling, rendering, animation. What is all these things? What is 3D? How do you bring an asset inside? How do you make it run? How do you do? You must be a proficient C# programmer if you're a programmer side. And then you must have knowledge of headsets and mobile app development, because you need to know how to move these things to a mobile phone. So you need to have some clue of mobile set development. But these days, those are all pretty straightforward, and there are a lot of tools available. So if I look at it, Unity 3D, C# programming, mobile web development, great. If you know it, is good. Sometimes Unity 3D programmers may not know web development and mobile development. That is fine. We usually put a mobile developer along with the Unity 3D programmer to get the job done. Okay, so it's not that everybody should know everything, but the key here is Unity 3D. Okay, Unity 3D is very important. Then I come to user interaction design. So here, what are the skills? Here, the biggest skill is you must have the ability to read, analyze, interpret client problems and client issues into working AR, MR applications. So I talked about this in the last slide. I was telling you, right? Think about the technology, think about the application, find the problem, get an insight, solve it. Okay, so that ability to actually immerse yourself with the customer and understand their customer need is very important. Okay, now this is also important for programmers. I'm not saying no, but this becomes extremely important for you if you're a visual communication person, if you're a user interaction designer. Second is you should be able to very quickly, rapidly prototype things. Okay, so you can't say you should, and it doesn't matter how you prototype. It could be sketches, it could be in Photoshop, it could be building models, or it could be in Unity 3D. Unity 3D is pretty straightforward. So today, if you can actually do it in Unity 3D, fantastic, because then those things can be taken by the developer directly and you can start working. So this rapid prototyping becomes very important. You must be very good at user interface design. You must be able to understand, and I'm sure in your courses you're learning that, how to create a user interface, how to reduce the number of clicks, how to create a optimum web interface, how to make the stickiness count, how to make a person come there and not leave. So those are important. Storyboarding. Storyboarding is, what is the storyboard? How is this experience going to run? So it's like a script. It's like a movie script. Like a movie. If you're going and seeing a movie, if the script is not good, there is no movie, right? The script will basically tell you scene by scene what is going to happen. Same thing needs to happen here, because this is also a story. It is just that the user is engaging with the story, right? And then of course, visual communication fundamentals of all of your theory which you have learned there. And again, here the important tools are Unity 3D and things called Vuforia. You should know Unity 3D, but now you might not do C# programming there. Not that it's very complicated, you can learn it, but you might not program, but you might model, render, create the UI buttons, do all of your prototyping there, right? So again, Unity 3D becomes important. Now, the third part is 2D, 3D asset creation. Now here, what can happen is many visual communication people go towards this side, right? I want to create 3D assets. I want to become a concept designer. I want to become an environment designer. I want to become a game programmer, and so on and so forth. Some of them may get into storyboarding for a game, content writing for a game, game design, gameplay design, so on and so forth. So all of those skills are very useful here, because you need to create 2D and 3D graphics, right? Like I told you, you have to create this chair, or you have to create models of what is going on. If it's VR, imagine if it's VR, you have to create this entire model. Now this is like as though he's going and standing in space. So you have to create this. You have to light it, texture it, render it, create all these models. So therefore, the 2D, 3D graphics people, very, very nice field to get into, along with gaming. Normally that is done in Blender or Maya, and then it's imported into Unity 3D. You could also directly do some work in Unity 3D itself. So again, here Unity 3D becomes the common factor, right? So now there are hundreds of tools out there. What we have tried to do is try to pick one or two tools with which you can do all of your jobs. So if you look at things like Unity 3D, you look at Steam VR, you look at Vuforia, these are three things. You should be able to create most of your applications, which is why Unity 3D is very, very key. So some of the technologies that are used, Unity, like I told you, Unity 3D, Steam VR, this is used for creating virtual reality experiences. This is used for creating augmented reality and virtual reality experiences. You can have AR Kit and AR Core. This is the iOS and Android augmented reality toolkits for creating applications. Now, again, in Unity itself, you have options for creating it. It's not that you need to know this, but it's good if you know. Android iOS is another one. Vuforia is another way to create these experiences. Blender, many of you might be knowing, is a 3D modeling, animation, rendering tool, which has become very popular. It's open source, which is very similar to Maya, Autodesk Maya. So you could use any of these to do your work. I'm sure many of the visual communication folks are using this and understanding it. So again, the very important thing is this arrow which I've drawn here. Okay, if you want to write an application, you need many of these skills. Of course, there are people who write applications and they do a great job. For example, I know many programmers who know this part, but they're also good in this because they learn it. So it's not that you have to have some qualification or anything, but it is that you should be able to move across boundaries, right? So if you're a programmer, you should be able to understand a little bit of how this stuff is going on. If you're an animator, you should be able to understand how this user interaction works. If you are a visual communication person, you must have an understanding of what is happening here and here, which is why Unity 3D becomes very important. If you learn that, then you get a very good idea and all of you can contribute to this technology. Okay. So that is the thing. And these are some pictures of glasses. So these are smart glasses. The first one here, second one here, third one here, fourth one here. These are all smart glasses which are used for mixed reality or augmented reality experiences. These two are examples of virtual reality experiences. And the way you can make out the differences, you see in these glass, virtual reality, everything is closed. You can't see anything, right? So obviously the real world cannot be seen. So the whole real world has to be replaced or created inside the glasses. Whereas if it is an augmented reality, as you can see, they are like your sunglasses. You can see outside also, but images are projected on the glass. So you get a very good impression of the image which is projected onto the real world. Okay. So this is some of the technologies and capabilities that are needed. Okay, for this. So with that, let me go to my last part, which is the career opportunities. So what are the career opportunities then? This is where I want to summarize again. Many of it I've already talked about. Now, career opportunity, look at the left, I already told you. It's a $20 billion USD market, 2025. Half of the medium and large businesses will have to extend these solutions, will have to adopt these solutions. This can get accelerated due to the pandemic. Now, if you look at the World Economic Forum, they're saying 54% of all employees in large organizations will need significant reskilling and upskilling in the next 5 years because of all these new technologies that are coming in, including AR, MR, robotics, so on and so forth. So then organizations will have to focus on tools and systems that are going to help with knowledge transfer in a better way. How do you transfer knowledge in a better way? And this technology can come there. So the belief is that this technology will be really adopted by multiple corporations and small and medium enterprises. And up until now, if I look at the customer requests that are coming to us as an organization for application development, it seems very exciting because wherever I talk about this, I get some interest. Nobody ever says I'm not interested. They say, hey, can you do this or can you do that? Can you make this for me? Can you make that for me? Right? So I feel that in the next 4-5 years, it'll be massive. And then, I already talked about it. As a result, startup and corporations look to create more and more engaging user experiences, right? Like, because even employees, when they join an organization, they're looking for more and more engaging content. Imagine if you joined a company and your manager, let's say you joined VY Systems only, and like Ranjana said, right, you did some training and you joined VY Systems, and let's assume Ranjana gave you 3 big files full of PDF documents and said, you read all this and gave it to you. That is one side. Second side is, she said, you go, all these PDFs are online. You can go and look at it. That is the second level. and also you can see it in a mobile. So you say, oh, that's okay, that's good. I don't have to at least sit physically in the office, or I don't have to carry all these files when I go home. I can actually see it online. But third, now imagine if she said, here are some PDFs. You can click on wherever these QR codes are there. You just focus on it, and you will get a complete AR VR experience. Somebody on video will come, and there'll be some videos. There'll people talk to you, and they'll teach you how to do things. Imagine how excited you will be in those three scenarios. It is the same thing for all employees in all companies. Companies always want to create the most engaging experience for employees who come in, because that makes people more motivated. And when they become more motivated, we all work harder, right? If you're motivated, energized, we work more, we provide more, we come up with better ideas. In fact, not even work more, we will work smarter, and we'll work in a much more innovative way if you're energized. So these are all ways of improving things. Okay, so that is one side. Second side, I told you about the technologies already, right? So these are all the technologies that are needed. And you guys are right in this. Many of you are programmers, and you guys and girls actually, many of you are programmers, many of you are visual communication people. I'm sure many of you are interested in 2D, 3D asset creation. You're interested in storyboarding. Some of you are interested in maybe C# programming and Unity 3D. Some of you may be interested in just writing applications. Some of you may be interested in just the technology as a whole. So there is a place for everybody, right? It's not that this technology is only limited to one set of people. Okay, so that is the second piece, which is your career opportunity. Third is, imagine where can you have an application area or a technology area which is applicable to almost every single industry. So in this field, one great thing about this field is, if you're a AR VR programmer, where can you get a job, right? What are all the options? One, of course, you can get a job with an AR VR company like us, okay, who are writing AR VR projects for other people. Great. But then you can also get jobs with any healthcare company. For example, GE is doing AR VR work, Siemens is doing AR VR work, Philips is doing AR VR work. Manufacturing, any manufacturing facility will get into AR VR. Any supply chain company, Amazon, Flipkart, logistics, packaging, pharma, field service. Field service is for any product. It could be Samsung, LG, anyone, right? Retail, online shopping, and education and training. The moment I come to education and training, then it is just about everybody. Every single company in this world needs to train their employees. They need to have education, which is why if you look at VY Systems, we have our own training group, right? Which is just focused on training people for our, as well as for other areas where we want them to work. Like Ranjana said, where they go onboarding, and so everyone gets into training, right? So in any company where there is a training need, there is an option for a job. So there is massive career opportunities. Okay. So in my opinion, as we are getting to the 1 hour, this is the ideal time to learn these technologies and tools needed, because this domain is just becoming big. Okay, it's just getting bigger. So I think it's the ideal time to learn this, things like Unity 3D, and get into this exciting domain. Think about this technology. Now, whether you wanted to get into programming, visual storytelling, user interaction design, 2D, 3D asset creation, or just managing and building these products, building these experiences, there is a place for everybody. And your imagination is your only limit in this technology, right? You can do whatever you want with this particular technology. Okay. So with that, I will stop here. Along with me, also have Jay Surya, who's our AR VR trainer. So those are the three people. Okay. So with that, I'll stop, and I'll open it up for questions.
Yes, thank you, Shyam sir. Thanks a lot for your time. We learned it actually what is AR and VR, because I was thinking I have missed actually. So நாங்க படிக்கும் போதுலாம் இந்த மாதிரி technologiesலாம் இருந்ததா we would have started and we would have grown up. So guys, like, you have any questions?
Please, ask me any question you want, guys, on this, because there was a lot of content. I'm open to answer any question you want.
Of course, it was quite interesting. Like, we had like நிறைய நமக்கு தெரியாத விஷயம்லாம் sir was telling how it is useful in healthcare. So yeah, you have any questions, guys? Everyone has understood. Yeah. So no issues. Anyway, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your time, guys. So, you have any queries or doubts, you can always reach us by mail or WhatsApp. Or you can even call us.
I think somebody has a question.
Ranjana, this is Rafi here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, maybe this is a question maybe I am addressing for a lot of people.
Yes, sir.
What is the learning curve here, sir? Say, for example, we got a lot of programmers like PHP or some .NET or something. If they want to get on board to a AR VR kind of training, what kind of time frame are we looking at here?
Oh, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. Shami, I'll take that question. That's a great question. So, see, if you're a programmer or if you're a visual designer, whichever side, you ask me about programmers. So Unity 3D, so for example, our own courses, the Unity 3D course, normally we have two versions, a basic and advanced version. The basic is 3 months, advanced is 3 months. So around 6 months, if you already know some programming and if you know computer science, you can get into this technology, right? 6 months is the learning curve on Unity 3D and this. Now, if you know some 3D programming already, you know about 3D assets, 3D animation, then it can be faster. If you're a visual communication person and you want to get into this area, Unity 3D, maybe a basic course of 3 months should be good enough to at least start building these user interactions. But I would say around 6 months, Rafi.
Okay, that's good, great. But also another question also, what kind of remuneration am I looking at? What kind of companies are available in Madras, Chennai, or in India, where after completion I can get a job or something, or maybe some placements from your side? You know?
Yeah,
It's a
so there are
question that
multiple.
everybody has in their mind, I think.
Yeah, so there are, yeah, of course. First one is, the placements in our own company, that is there, because we are always looking for good AR, VR people. Outside of that, like I said, right, if I go back to my PowerPoint, if you look at Chennai or if you look at India, every single one of these sectors is chock-a-block in Chennai. So if you look at manufacturing, Chennai is the manufacturing hub. So you have everybody there. You have Ford, you have Hyundai, you have, mobile phone companies, Ashok Leyland, you go to the Ambattur side, it's full of manufacturing people. So multiple multinationals are there. Field service, same story. Many, many companies. Amazon, warehousing, so many warehouses, healthcare. So most of this, right? So there are many, many, many options for this. Like I said before, it is not just on AR, VR companies, but also these domain companies which will use AR, VR.
Okay, just another question. I think that was missed. I think basically, what kind of remuneration package am I looking here on salary scale?
So that depends, Rafi. It's very difficult to say, but it is definitely to a premium of what a fresher is paid today. That I can tell you. A fresher
Yeah.
comes out of college, whatever they pay today, this is at a premium of that.
Yes. It's a lovely presentation, Shyam, and really congrats to the whole team. Beautiful.
Thank you. So Ranjana,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, guys, from anybody else? Please ask me any questions.
I don't think so. They have it, sir, because someone has mentioned in the chat like they don't know about AR, VR, but they have learned a lot about it. Thank you so much, sir.
Very good. That's
Yeah.
good. Because also the point of this is to give you guys an idea of what
Yes.
this technology is
Yes.
and how to get in. Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how to get in and what to do with it if you're interested. So that's
Yes.
great.
So maybe these technologies will be new to them. So like, they'll be wondering what to do next, all these things. So thank you. Thanks a lot, sir, for your time. And, you gave us a lot of details about AR and VR. So it was a quite interesting session. Thanks a lot, Shyam, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Hey,
Yes.
thanks Abdul for
Thanks
logging
a
in.
lot, sir.
Surya, for
Thanks
logging
a
in.
lot.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So thank you
Yes,
guys.
sir.
So thanks for attending this webinar. So as I told you before, if you guys have any questions, you can always mail us or reach us or call us or WhatsApp us, whatever you feel comfortable. So thanks a lot for your time. So I hope it was an interesting session.